Welcome to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you burn fat, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey everybody, it's Debbie Potts. I'm excited to podcast with Kelsey Hess today. She is a woman of many talents and super intelligent about all areas of health and fitness and wellness, but she's also the content manager at Kion. And I met Kelsey when we did the Kion coach program, and she was just the creator of all the content. So you, Kelsey, are a very wise woman. You know a lot of everything.
A little bit of a lot of things is what I like to say.
I say that all the time too. I know a little bit about a lot, but So we wanted to just kind of dive in today and talk about, all things health and what's going on in our world, how we can really, actually, I created a definition yesterday because I found this was not defined anywhere, but what is a health optimizer? And how it's kind of the time to teach people what we've done for years of self-care and what we do as Kion coaches and what Ben Greenfield's done and everything we've learned from him. But really, I feel like we should all team up and spread this knowledge out around the world, because it's, to me, the thing we need to do. And I just was making a little infographic, self-care and, build your health and all this stuff about stay home, stay safe, stay healthy is really a pet peeve to me. It's like, well, okay, so what are people doing? They're isolating themselves in their house and they're not getting exposure to daylight, to nature, to, getting fresh air. And so I just want to kind of see what you're up to, what your thoughts are, and we'll kind of get to hot topic. Everyone else wants to know about fasting, and you're big into thyroid, autoimmune stuff. So let's just kind of roll with it and see what we have, what our conversation leads to. So thanks for making time for me today.
Oh yeah, it's great to be back on here and to chat with you again. I'm curious, what definition did you come up with or find for a health optimizer? Because I know like biohacker is one that gets thrown around a lot, but I haven't heard health optimizer yet.
Well, and what's funny is I told you I was just on a bike ride this morning and I get all these ideas, and I looked on GoDaddy to see, all right, no one's really, how come this isn't even a popular hashtag? So I'm on a mission to make it popular.
Like a domain name or?
Domain name.
Okay.
It was $14,000 or $4,000. So like, okay, I'm not getting healthoptimizer.com on GoDaddy, but it's funny. I got to find my definition, but I put it in a blog yesterday, and it just is really kind of, you look at what health is, and health, I look up the definition is, I condensed it, the condition of being in sound body, mind, and spirit, also freedom from physical disease, the general condition of the body, a condition which someone or something is thriving and doing well, and or general condition or state. That's what health is when I look it up on Google definitions on the dictionary. And then what does optimizer mean? Optimizer is to make perfect, to be effective or functional as possible. So you put those two words together, and I thought, okay, health optimizer, let's take those key words. And to me, it means to optimize the function of the body, mind, and spirit to bring to optimal level, homeostasis, so we are able to thrive each day in life and improve our vitality. Quote, Debbie Potts.
I like it. That was really interesting. The first definition of health that you read, that it was sound body, mind, and spirit, like that the spirit piece is actually included in the general definition of health. Because I think the second thing you said was absence of disease or something like that.
Physical disease.
I feel like that's what people typically think of health as, is like, well, there's nothing wrong with you. You're healthy. There's nothing wrong. Whereas you're kind of taking it to the next level. It's like, well, maybe there's nothing wrong, and also there's a lot of things right. Like you feel good enough to live the life you want and to thrive and have vitality. So I love that. That's super interesting. I think that's something that I've been really thinking about a lot lately. And I think health, it's sort of like you go through phases. I feel like of what health really means to you, like throughout your life, depending on what you've gone through and if you've had to overcome a state of disease to get to like a normal level. And so I think for a lot of people that are like in it and dealing with something really hard or like trying to come back from some sort of disease or health issue, it's like, I just want to be healthy. Like, I just want to feel normal. You know, I don't want to have this thing holding me back from everything I want to do. And then if you're lucky enough to overcome whatever that was, you kind of get to a state where it's like, I want to be a little bit more than healthy. Like, I don't just want to feel okay. It's like, I want to feel great. I want to feel as good as I can. And I think that's like the health optimization piece for a lot of people, is like, they've sort of come through a spectrum of health and are getting to like, well, let's see how good I can actually get, you know? So that's a really interesting space as well.
Yeah. And it's so funny. I've been redoing my website stuff last week and figuring out, you know, my why. And it is to teach people to, you know, don't you want your body back and get your vibrant self back? And I think a lot of it, and what I've learned just even the past few months redoing my functional lab test, is that, all right, I'm feeling good, I'm happy, I'm energetic, but my levels were, in my Dutch test, estrogens, for example, 3 of them were like the bottom of the barrel. You know how they have those dials? I'm like, very low. And I did a podcast with Dr. Deborah Rice of Dutch, one of the Dutch test doctors. And it was just what you're saying. I feel good, but I could feel so much better. And is this my new normal? Am I settling? And so what I challenge people is to, you know, not just try to survive each day, but we should be trying to thrive. And, you know, the word vitality and vibrancy always comes to mind. And I think a lot of times people blame the aging process to feeling like this new normal or feeling crappy and just like, oh, it's just how I am. Instead of going, okay, am I going to settle, or am I going to be, you know, motivated and be an overachiever to perform my best or feel my best and look my best?
I have so many questions. Like what I've heard you say vibrant, and I think that is a really great word, but it's also really hard to describe what that means. So when you say vibrant health, like what do you picture? What do you picture as like an image of vibrant health?
That's a good question. I should probably dig deeper to that. I think to me that means like, you know, shine. I want to shine comes to my first word. We're like playing a game. What comes to mind first? I think feeling vibrant means like energy comes out of you. You know, you shine, you have this glow, you have this content with who you are. And when I was writing my why the other day, I wrote a blog. It's like, I want to wake up and feel good. And I don't want to look in the mirror and go, oh my God, who the heck is that? That person is not me. And that's what led me down this path going, okay, what do people want? And my experience is like, I want to wake up and feel energetic, and I want to feel beautiful, and I want to feel happy, and I want to feel lovable. So I think it's always working on yourself and your health, and what we talk about, getting the functional labs, doing the, you know, the holistic method type of thing. And all the stuff we talk in our Kion program, that we have to work on all these different elements to really embrace these changes as we get older, and our environmental changes, and now our, you know, the new lifestyle we might be leading in the future from COVID. But yeah, feeling thriving and alive kind of ties in with the vibrancy. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. What you said, glowing energy. Like, I think there's some people that just, I'm really curious about the people that naturally do that in life. And it's like, they have this basic foundation of health that allows them to do all these really cool, awesome things. And then they also have this just like glow and energy about them too. And you're like, what is that person doing? They're just like radiating this vibrancy, like you said it. And I've noticed it a lot when I go to different countries as well too. So it's not necessarily like the people that are biohacking their way to health, although some of us actually do need to do that because we don't have that basic foundation of health that some others were born with or grew into. And I think that's really interesting. And I think there's definitely like a spiritual piece of that too, that I've found as well, is like, they are these people that radiate and have vibrant health. They are of sound mind, body, and spirit. Like there's a spiritual element about them where they're confident in themselves and they're confident in why they're here and what they're doing and their purpose in life. And I think that radiates outward too. So I'm interested in like the physical health piece of it, but also like what else do these people have, that just like glow in this way. So that's super interesting. I love talking about all the different definitions of health and what it means to a bunch of people, because ultimately I think people just want to feel good. They want to look good and they want to feel good and do whatever they can to get to that point. I also think there's like a really interesting line of, and I'm curious to hear how you sort of balance this with like, when you go down the optimization route, it's almost like, it's like a chasing a perfection thing. So it's like, when do you feel like you're there? Are you ever there if you're just like continually trying to optimize? Is it ever like, are you happy with how you feel and how you look? Or do you feel like you're sort of chasing this thing that is elusive, like you could always be better?
Yeah. When do you stop?
Right.
Trying to find, okay, where is my optimal self? Is there always, and I think that's, a lot of Ben Greenfield Kion followers are always looking for the extra edge and they don't stop. And to me, as I get older and go through all this life experiences I've had, that it's like, okay, when do you stop and just stop overworking, all these people that do 50 different biohacks and, trying to get the new device out and they have all this stuff. It's like, why don't you just be still, be quiet and just keep a simple life, and not just let things happen naturally without all these different machines that stimulate your cells and everything. So it's, totally interesting subject, but I think, optimize is a thing, to talk about and how we want to optimize cell health. And we'll get into fasting as a big part of it. But I think the main thing I feel, and I don't know what people think, can let us know, but you want to look your best, feel your best, and, perform your best. And that's what I've said for years, when I write stuff on my website, that it is look better naked kind of thing. You just want to feel good but look good and be happy about who you are on the inside out, and not just physical appearances, because then it's like, okay, you might look good on the outside, but how are you happy and thriving? So anyways, what have you found different in your world with like COVID stuff before and you're in Boulder? How's life changed, or has it changed much for you since you work mostly online?
So I work for Kion, Ben Greenfield's company, and we sell health supplements, and it's all e-commerce. So it's all based online. And I feel so lucky to work for a company like this right now, because we're doing okay. People are really, most people are buying online right now. So it's great to be in e-commerce.
I'm drinking my Kion coffee, by the way, and drinking my aminos.
Nice. Wait, do you combine the two? I find that's a pretty weird mix for me sometimes.
Well, I have it just set up for my work day, but I just I started preparing them at this one time. So
sometimes when I have one and the other, it's like a really weird taste combo.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we're really lucky to be in this space right now. And I think a lot of people are concerned about their health at the moment and are really trying to take steps to make sure that they're healthy. And we provide a lot of products that can help people do that. So first of all, I feel super lucky. And then how things have changed. We're not going into the office now, obviously. We're all working remote. And before we had like a flex schedule, so we had a couple days remote a week, and then we would go into the office for a couple of days. So we're all pretty used to the remote work at this point. And I worked remote for several years, so I'm super used to it. Great space for productivity for me. Just being at home and being in a quiet space for sure. But yeah, I think it's tough, not seeing your coworkers in a physical space. It becomes really important to be able to communicate well, and communicate with emotion and empathy, and not just like talk to a screen. So that's been an interesting challenge for us, I think. But as a company, we're doing well. We're going to be launching a couple more products this year. We've got some really exciting stuff coming down the pipeline for early next year too. So yeah, just super grateful. I've been enjoying this. I know it's like a terrible situation, and a lot of people have gotten sick and people have died, and it's quite frankly awful. A lot of people have lost their jobs. My husband actually lost his job in all of this. So I feel like the economic impacts of it for sure. But I think just trying to look on the bright side, I've got so much more time to be outside, be in nature, be at home, read, do house projects that we've been putting off forever. We finally landscaped our front yard, which was a dirt pit for years.
I must throw in we're walking so much from our house. Just all the yards finally look beautiful.
I know. Yeah. Landscaping is like totally skyrocketed. I tell you what. So yeah, I'm really appreciating the time that I have now, not commuting to the office, get to walk my dog a ton. I'm way more physically active, just because I'm at home and I can do things to break up my work day. Been sleeping a lot better. So I'm really just trying to simplify my life, just being at home, not going out to restaurants and cooking at home a lot. And I think the simpler I make my life and the less I feel like I need to spend money on or consume, the happier I am. Like, it's a direct correlation for me. The more time I have, the more time I spend outside, the less I spend money, and the more I just cook in my own home. I just find that, I'm content, I'm happy. Like, I don't feel like I'm chasing things to buy or do. I'm just finding that it's a really good reset for me, and like in terms of what is actually important to me in my life and my happiness. Yeah,
that's so true. And I always feel guilty as well that you say, you kind of am enjoying this new schedule. And I realized I've been a personal trainer since after college, and I, for the first time in 25 plus years, don't have to go to work at 5:30 in the morning or 7. So I'm like, okay, I feel really bad because I know the horrible effects on our world and people died and all that negative, sad side of it. But the positives, I try to look at, like, oh my gosh, my husband and I are fortunate that we work out well together. We eat together, we eat lunch, and, we just have a great relationship. So it is better than, I'm sure some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't stand.
I know.
But we do, we're doing yoga, and I haven't been doing yoga for years. And I used to go yoga class 5 days a week before my health issues, but it was one thing I had to like remove because it was adding, more hours into my day that I didn't have. And so now we do yoga and we walk. Never really walked so much in my life. And, just not having to get up at crack of dawn, not even like 4:30, which we're doing it again now, but it was more like I had clients at 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning for years, and 5:30 until last year when I closed my studio, which I'm grateful for every day that I do not own my fitness studio, because I don't even know what I'd be doing right now.
Oh yeah, what good timing with that.
Yeah, I know. Every day I write my gratitude journal. I'm like, thank you, Lord, for allowing me to close September 30th, because I feel for those people. But yeah, I always try to think of the positives in things as I get older and go through my stress issues. And I realize, okay, let's look at the bright side and what can we get out of this? And thinking, okay, everything happens for a reason. There's lessons we learn. There's gifts in each horrible situation. So, what do you find to be some of the gifts in this? As you just said, staying at home, getting projects done, but also, is it more, you think we're creating any awareness of the importance of health in our world and being cleaner and germs, or what do you find kind of the gift in this horrible?
I certainly hope so. Like, I hope some things change after this. I'm hopeful that they will, but I also realize that they may not. Like, things may just go back to the way they were. But I hope there's some level of awareness and a shift in people as they're realizing, sort of like I am, what's important to me, and what makes me happy and feel fulfilled. I do, I wish there was more education and information on improving your health, not just like trying to stay clean of disease. And there are some people speaking out about that for sure, but they kind of get crowded out with like conventional medicine, germ theory sort of approach, which is beneficial in some ways for sure, but it's also like, okay, well, there's a lot of other things you can do besides just use hand sanitizer and wear a mask. Like, you can actually protect yourself from the inside out as well. So it's not just using these like these measures where you feel like you have no control. You know what I mean? I think the narrative is really making people feel like they have no control over their health, which is totally not true. Like, you have so much control over your health. That's like one of the things that you can absolutely control in life. You can't control the economy or diseases and viruses that go around, but you can control how you respond and how you take care of yourself and bolster your immune system in this time. So I wish there was more education from the big industries around stuff like this, but I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into why it's not widespread. But vitamin D, getting outside, getting fresh air. Like, I really hate that everything we're being told to do is almost the exact opposite of that. It's like, you don't need to wear your mask outside. You don't need to stay inside all the time. Eating well, getting exposure to natural germs in your environment are great for your immune system. So going out in your garden, just being outdoors. And I wish more of that was in the mainstream media for sure.
I wish there was more people that were able to, speak out. Like, I know I saw something Dr. McCullough got an email yesterday or day before that he got taken down or something.
Oh gosh.
Speaking out, and other leaders, I don't know how big Dr. Axe is, and who else can go out, and Dr. Ben Lynch is doing these live Facebook videos and is passionate about getting this info out. It's like, how come we can't just get all these people to go to Washington DC and talk to them? But it's just like, I feel like it's uphill battle, and there's nothing we can do, and that's what frustrates me. And I delete Facebook about once a week. Reading everything, and I've been just trying to write a lot and think, okay, I might not be able to make a difference in our government guidelines and the political influence of the doctors and scientists, and it's just so confusing, all the information they get out there, and it's just like, what can we do? So I just try to write blogs. I've been creating an ebook on how the immune system works. I was just thinking today, I call it Immune System 101. And just like, here's how it works. You're born with this innate immune system. And it's just so frustrating to me. And obviously I get fired up because it's just like, I see people wearing these face masks walking by themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, do I see you in a crowd? Or you're in cars. I got this 3-ply face mask. I got a 10-pack of them. You can wash them. I put it on. I'm like, oh my God, I emailed the company. I go, are these legal? I cannot even breathe. And I think it's more harm to have, and it's there, all the guidelines, how to make these masks. And I just got mad because I can't even breathe properly because you're like, sock in your mouth. And
it's really not helpful. You know, we don't have, like, I didn't buy any of the high grade masks or anything like that. So we've been using bandanas, which, you know, it's like, that's not going to help me. You know what I mean?
You look like you're doing your part.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of this like interesting social pressure nowadays to wear one. And obviously I don't want to spread anything to anyone else. So I totally get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I find myself messing with my face more when I have it. I want to take it off immediately as soon as I get out of the grocery store. I'm just like, I can't breathe. And people that do wear them for long periods of time, you're almost, you know, if you do become infected and you are breathing in and out of this mask, you're not clearing those droplets at all. You just keep breathing them in. And so I saw some studies the other day that was like you can actually increase your viral load if you've been exposed. So say you've been exposed, you maybe get the virus, but you don't get it as bad. So it's like your viral load is pretty low, your body can fight it off, and you may have like an asymptomatic case of COVID. If you get it and you're wearing a mask and you keep breathing in and out of that mask, you actually can increase your viral load because you keep getting exposed. I don't know if this is actually true. I'm just like kind of reiterating what I read in the post. So I'm definitely not an immunologist. I don't know much about this at all. And I don't think a lot of us do actually, but it can actually be more harmful to wear a mask for extended periods of time, especially one that's not really great in the first place. So that part's been really confusing to me. Like, do I wear one? Do I not? Do I just wear it when I'm in the grocery store and no other time? I don't really know. But I do feel the pressure to have one when I go into just community places for sure.
Yeah, I went to Target yesterday because I had to get some stuff, and so I went in, I put gloves on and a mask. I'm like, okay, I so don't think this is necessary, but I'm gonna go to surgery. And and no one was around because I'm in this huge Target, and then there's no one around me. I'm like, okay, I'm taking this off. But then when I'm going out to the cash register section, I just think it's polite to do. But yeah, it is confusing, and that's why I stopped reading about everything, because I get frustrated because there's 10 different opinions to, mask or no mask. You're protecting yourself. I come to the conclusion some days that, like, all right, should you wear it if you're sick? But then you used to hear that you don't know if you might be carrying that virus. But right. I would think I would know if I have the virus. So I don't know. Anyways.
That's the tricky part, and that's the confusing part about this, is like you can be asymptomatic and have it and spread it to other people. So that's, I think, where a lot of the pressure comes in, and the feeling of social responsibility to not spread it to someone else. So I totally understand that, and I am empathetic to that. And then I also agree with what you just said, is like, the more I read, the more confused I get. So I'm just kind of going back to basics with a lot of things and making sure that I'm healthy and I'm taking care of my immune system, and then just hope that, reducing my exposure to other people, and hope that that's enough.
Well, so that's a good segue into what are you doing and what are you learning to share with others and through Kion to improve our immune system. And I know we had a call for Kion with Dr. Pompa the other day talking about fasting and great information about kind of the 5-2 program, and great information. What are you doing for your immune system, and thoughts on how we can help others?
Yeah, totally. Not a doctor, disclaimer, but this is what I'm doing. So getting outside as much as I possibly can is something that I'm doing. Getting sun exposure, getting microbe exposure through gardening and yard work and all of that. Exercising is great for the immune system. I haven't been doing as much high intensity exercise as I normally do. Just because I have read some things about how it can dampen your immune system for a short amount of time after you exercise. So I've been doing a lot of aerobic cardio that's steady state. So running by the creek. I've been doing a lot of walking like you, just walking my dog a ton. I've been doing some weightlifting. We have like one set of dumbbells in our house. So
I have 5-pound weights. That's all I have.
You could do some like, some arm circles.
Arm circles. You want to work your biceps, just hold those 5-pound weights up. But
there you go.
Make do with what you have.
Yeah. So that's basically all we have for weights. I rock climb, so I've been doing a bit of that. Yeah, getting outside. I'm so grateful that I can still do a lot of the things that I enjoy if I can be outside. And so getting, that low level exercise in, a lot of it throughout the day, not necessarily doing a ton of really hard exercise right now. But I do find that my body responds better to a lot of low level movement. We recently bought a sauna right before all of this. So I'm very grateful to have a sauna in our garage right now.
What brand did you choose?
We got a Clear Light, so the same one that Ben has. I did a bit of research and I was like, I trust his opinion on these things. So I asked him which model he had. So we just got that same one. And it's been really, really nice. I've been trying
gigantic one?
Yeah, well, okay, here's the thing. He says he does yoga in it, and it's called the Sanctuary Y. It's a Clear Light sauna. It's an infrared sauna called the Sanctuary Y. And I was like, oh, great. I do yoga every morning. I've done like the same 15-minute routine for years now. It's like, I just do it in the morning. It's a habit. And I was like, oh, so if I can combine the sauna and the yoga, I can kind of kill two birds with one stone. Sounds great. Like I would love to do that every morning. It's not as big as it looks. No. Like Ben is 6'4" or something like that. I don't know if he's that tall, but I'm like, dude, how do you do yoga in this? I cannot extend, like I can't extend my arms all the way up. I cannot stretch out. So you can do like basic like holding poses, but you can't necessarily do a flow in that sauna.
Mountain pose.
Yeah, basically. You can do like mountain pose and downward dog.
Chair pose.
And chair pose, yeah. So that's the funny thing about that sauna. I'm like, do you really do yoga in here? Or do you just like stretch and foam roll? So I've been doing a lot of that, and the sauna is great for the immune system. Everything I've read about it is like, it's definitely not going to hurt. It's only going to help if anything. So I've been doing the sauna. I've been doing a cold shower after the sauna. So cold exposure is also great for the immune system. It kind of bolsters it in a way like the same as other bacterial exposure can do.
How long do you do your cold showers for?
Oh, I'm such a wimp. I do sometimes I'll do hot cold contrast. So if I didn't just go in the sauna, I'll do hot and then like 20 seconds cold and then always end on cold, because the benefits of when your body needs to heat itself up from being cold. So I always try to end on cold. If I just did the sauna, I'll do like 2 minutes, like as much as I can stand to just rinse off. And that's really the extent of cold exposure is a hard one for me.
Me too.
It's this thing that I want to be able to overcome. It's easier for me to jump in like a cold lake or a river. Is that true for you than to do a cold shower?
Yeah, I like to go into a cold bath, like I know Brad Kearns is doing this freezer thing. I think he's still doing it, but just making your freezer into a cold bathtub. Like I couldn't get in there. So yeah. I mean, I am good for that Tabata type of timer, the 20 seconds on, 20 seconds warm, 20 seconds cold, and I can handle that. But yeah. I'm a total wimp in the cold.
I wonder if it's a genetic or not a genetic thing, a gender thing too. Cause like a lot of women I talk to, they just hate it. Like for some reason, I feel like it's harder for us to warm up afterwards, maybe.
Okay, so correlate that with your thyroid. Would that relate to low thyroid? Because be a good thing to look into. It's like, all right, if cold hands and feet are related to low thyroid, and I want to get my thyroid tested because I'm sure I'm low right now, and so that'd be good. It's like, okay, is that why I hate cold? Because it's hard for me to warm up. But yeah, heating up in the infrared sauna. I have a Sunlighten. I just sold my Sunlighten, but that's when I would use, or even the Sunlighten, it takes me a while to heat up. So I think if your colder body core temperature, I have this biomat that I like lying on first and really heat my core temperature up, then go in the infrared is better. But doing the cold is, torture.
Yeah, it really could be related to the thyroid. The thyroid is basically like your regulator of your metabolism and thus your body temperature as well. And so a lot of the times if you do have the cold hands and feet and your body temperature is low, it could be a sign of thyroid dysfunction, hypothyroid. And I have a history of that. I have Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune thyroid disease. And so I can kind of fluctuate between hyper and hypo. So I know what both feel like, and hypo is definitely like, it's hard to warm up. I remember before I was diagnosed and I didn't really know, I thought I was just like cold. I thought I was just like a cold person. I would snowboard and, a couple of runs in, my toes would be completely numb and my hands would be completely numb. And there was nothing I could do about it. Like I can't shake any circulation in, like I just cannot get warm. And so I think that's definitely like, that could make the cold even worse, obviously, because you're already cold and you can't, your body, you don't have enough thyroid hormone to essentially rev up your metabolism to warm up. And so if you find like you're cold and you can't get warm, like it's impossible to get warm on your own, then that could certainly be a sign. And I can tell you now that I've treated it and my hormone levels are back to normal, it's not hard for me to warm up anymore. Like my hands don't go numb like they used to. I feel a lot more like a normal person now. So yeah, it's definitely related, and more women have thyroid problems than men do.
So we just created our own thesis study.
Yeah.
If you're a female and you have low thyroid, and do you suffer or struggle in cold thermogenesis?
Yeah, for sure.
So what about fasting? I know people want to know about that. So let's kind of talk the last part about fasting. Dr. Pompa, talked about the other day. I interviewed Dr. Terry Walls, and she was saying not to fast when you're stressed out. If people are, really stressed about financial stress with COVID and just have that huge fear of our world, not to do extended fasting because that's additional stress to your body. But also I was researching, yesterday I sent you some articles, immune system, cell autophagy and fasting, and trying to get some research articles on that. So what have you found? Because I know you guys talk a lot about fasting at Kion, and you probably might know some more updated stuff on how it helps for immune system and just kind of getting rid of the dead, damaged cells with cell autophagy. And also, I always think of it as liver detoxification too, because we got to eliminate the waste products. And so that goes to sleep. We got to sleep. So we get that housekeeping service to come in while you're sleeping. So we just need, all the support of all our body systems. But fasting, say 16 hours, and do the time restricted feeding for 8 hours. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I agree with Dr. Terry Walls on her recommendation to not do extended fasting right now for most people. So, a lot of people are experiencing a lot more stress. I am so lucky because I still have my job. I can work from home. We don't have kids. Like we have a house. We're good. My stress is probably lower than ever right now, honestly. I don't watch the news. Like I think that's a big thing too. But if I had 3 kids, I was having to try to work from home while my kids are like screaming in the background. Maybe there's like some economic stress too. I probably, like fasting probably wouldn't be good for that scenario. So if you are experiencing, fasting is a stressor. It's a hormetic stressor, right? So that's what makes it beneficial for some people. But you have a certain amount of stress that your body can take before it actually starts to break down and your health decreases after that. So exercise is a stressor, cold and heat are stressors, certain plant compounds are stressors. And so if you are doing a lot of things that will stress you out and you're throwing fasting on top of it, that's really like a bad combination. And that's when a lot of people will see, especially women, will see problems with their hormones, their menstrual cycle, their mental function. Like all of these things can sort of be fasting can sort of be the gasoline on the fire if you already have a high stress load. And so in terms of doing it when you're stressed out, I would definitely recommend like not doing an extended fast. And by extended fast, I typically mean more than like the 18-hour intermittent fast.
Okay, that was my question. Is extended fasting mean 24 hours or is that over 16? So you think like over 18 is...
Yeah. So typically, like when we think of intermittent fasting, it's skipping a meal or two, essentially, is what it is. So you skip your breakfast and maybe your lunch, and then you eat one meal a day. Like that's like the time restricted feeding intermittent fasting window. If you go past that, I would typically, everybody has a different definition, of course, but I would typically consider that an extended fast. So like the 2 to 3 day fast, maybe not a great idea to do right now. And also for another reason, I was reading up on this, after a certain amount of time, I believe it's like 24 to 36 hours, you actually see a spike in cortisol while you're fasting. And the spike in cortisol can actually dampen the immune system response during that time. So a lot of people that are big advocates for extended fasting normally right now are like, it's not actually a great time to do an extended fast because of that window where your immune system is actually lowered.
And that's the secondary IgA, that because I did an article, I was trying to research a month ago. I think I started on chronic stress and the immune system. And so that would be a chronic stressor, source of chronic stress, something that's nonstop, which fasting kind of, it's more like adding fuel to the fire if you already have all these other stressors. And then you add, like you're saying, an additional source of stress. So your beaker of stress is overfilling.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have that breakdown. But the secondary IgA is part of in the gut mucosal barrier, and that's one of the ones that protects us for our immune system. So I've learned that, that's depressed when you have chronic stress, and that when stress is excess.
Yeah.
Activated, your secondary IgA antibodies are depressed.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that mechanism, but yeah, totally. And the reason,
read my blog.
I would love to. I'll go read your blog after this so I can educate myself too. And the reason why, so when we have a scenario like we do where there's an immune threat, COVID, coronavirus, for example, that's when you don't really want to be doing extended fasting because there's already, a potential threat out there of you contracting it. And then if you're in that window and you contract it, your immune system may not be as alert as it typically would be. The intermittent fasting, you don't see that as much. So the intermittent fasting is more just like, kind of like you said, being able to clear out cellular debris while you're sleeping. So that can improve your immune system, that shorter window. It's better for digestive health. Like some people find that their mental clarity is much higher when they're intermittent fasting. Obviously more for men than women. I would say that there's a fat loss aspect to that as well. So the 16 to 18, I think is still okay to do right now. Again, as long as you're not like super stressed out. If you're super stressed out and you're just like, I can't even with everything going on right now, maybe not a great time to fast. Just make sure you're eating healthy and eat 3 meals a day and don't snack a bunch in between, and you're still getting some cellular cleanup in between your meals and while you sleep. In terms of just generally for the immune system, extended fasting can be beneficial, especially for those, I think you mentioned autoimmune disease. And so that's kind of how I got really interested in fasting, is to use it as a therapy for recovering from my autoimmune disease. The extended fasting, so it can like dampen the immune system a bit, but typically with autoimmune disease, you have an overactive immune system. And so your body is like attacking some sort of antigen or tissue or something because it's overactive essentially. And so that's sort of why the fasting can be beneficial for those categories of people, is because they're actually having like the opposite reaction. And so, and all the benefits on autophagy and cleaning up the cellular debris that happen during an extended fast is also just really great for autoimmune disease and anti-aging and all of these things that people really are looking for normally. But this scenario, I think we're in just an interesting time where everyone just, should just be really protecting their immune system as much as they can and reducing stress levels as much as they can as well.
So that's what I keep writing about and thinking, okay, self-care, I call it the holistic method. I put this together 10 years ago. And so it's like, all right, everything we've learned, with Ben's superhuman program I did 10 years ago and the Kion program, it's just all those different elements we talk about. And go back to the beginning of the podcast, we talk about health, and it's about mind, body, spirit. And that's kind of what we work on too. And as Kion coaches and health coaches, is that really, this is a time to take care of yourself, but how do we get that message across? And that's what I'm trying to do with my blog and podcast and, type of social media post to say, it's a choice. You have a choice. Like you said, take control of your own health. It's your choice. And, it's that old saying of putting the oxygen mask on first, taking care of the whole you from the inside out. But it's that challenge to get people that don't listen to podcasts, the majority of the world that don't know about intermittent fasting and don't know about eating real food and getting outside and, like I said, playing in the dirt and doing all these things to improve our immune system instead of, our society just wants that instant fix, some prescription medication shot vaccine that's just gonna, I'm just invincible now. I can't get this virus or other viruses, or, people getting the flu shot think, okay, I'm good. I can eat whatever crap I want. I can stay up late, watch Netflix till midnight and have, 5 glasses of wine or whatever liquor they have. Just, forget that. All right. You need structure, you need goals, and you need to have these good, healthy habits to make yourself resilient. And that's another word I try to look at the definition of what is resiliency. What does that mean to build your immune system up, and what does it mean to be resilient? Mm-hmm. So fasting is, you're saying, good. So we should try it start with 12 hours and build up to 16. And do you do that like nonstop, or do you do kind of the 5-2 that I think Sunday to Friday, I try to keep fasting, and I'm trying to get back in routine because it is harder when I'm at home, because usually I'll be like, I'm busy all day and then I don't get back home till 2, so I can't eat lunch anyways. But now it's like, okay, I'm home. So, it's harder right now to fast. So to me, it's easier to stop because I don't have kids either, that I can stop eating at 5 o'clock, or, we eat lunch usually at 2 and that's our main meal. But to me, sustainability is, doing the 5-2 program for me is kind of just natural for me. Friday, Saturday, we'll have dinner and make a nice meal, or my husband will. I'm a horrible cook, but.
Oh, nice. He cooks for you.
Yeah, he does. He does the laundry, does the yard, does the cooking.
Oh, wow.
I'm married.
What a guy.
But just like, what do you find works for you, or what you suggest to clients? Should we do 16-8 every day and do once a month a 24-hour fast, or what do you think?
Mm-hmm. I think, me, it depends. Yeah, so I would never recommend, the same fasting protocol for multiple people, if that makes sense. Like I'm a really big believer in personalized nutrition and personalized approaches to things. And so if you were to come to me and say, like, should I fast? Like, how long should I fast? How many days? Blah, blah. I would ask you like 10 questions first.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, what's your goal? Are you looking to, do you have an autoimmune disease? Are you just looking to lose a little bit of weight? Are you looking for mental clarity? Are you looking for longevity and anti-aging benefits? Like, why do you even want to consider fasting in the first place? So I would ask that. I would also ask, what do your activity levels look like? Like, when do you work out? How often do you work out? How long do you work out? Are you like a triathlete, or are you just sort of like a recreational exerciser? So that would depend on, that would play into what I would recommend. What does your diet look like now? If you're used to eating like 6 meals a day, I wouldn't tell you to jump into a 5-2. So it would taper based on that also. And then what do your stress levels look like? Are you like a CEO power woman with 3 kids at home and you also exercise and do boot camps and all of this stuff? Or are you kind of like me and you're super lucky right now and I don't have a lot of stress and I don't have things kind of weighing on me in that way? So like those are the big things I would probably ask first. And then depending on that, also, are you a male or female? Like that's a big one too. And you know, I'm like super into women's health and personalizing things for women specifically, because we get a lot of our health advice from men, or historically we have, and a lot of it doesn't translate for women, I found. So I would ask all of those questions first before I could be like, this is how we should start, and maybe taper things out. How old are you? That's a huge one too, especially for women. Because for a young, healthy woman, I probably wouldn't recommend a 5'2", especially one that is super active. I would probably recommend 12 hours every day. That's pretty easy to hit. You stop eating dinner at 6 p.m. and you eat breakfast again at 6 a.m. Like super easy for most people. And if you weren't as active, maybe you throw in some 16-hour intermittent fasts on your less active days. So like your recovery days, maybe you skip breakfast or you eat a later breakfast, just to get some of those cleansing and gut health benefits from extended fasting. If you're an older female, like maybe you're post-menopause and you're actually dealing with like some stubborn weight, or you're maybe pre-diabetic, or like sort of in the risk categories, I think a 5'2" would probably be great for somebody like that, because it's pretty easy to stick with, and you're getting the longevity benefits and the blood glucose benefits from doing like the longer fasting on the weekend. That's what it is, right? It's like 5 normal days and then 2 days of the extended fasting.
Yeah, well, like Dr. Pompa, I think it's more that prolonged program that they do, the fasting mimicking diet. But then he was also talking about, intermittent fasting, low carb, and then, activate your mTOR pathways, because it's always that Goldilocks effect of cell autophagy with the AMPK pathway, with the mTOR pathway, and you want to have, breakdown, but then we need just as much buildup. And it's funny, I keep saying the Goldilocks effect. It's like for everything, it's find that right amount for you, and it depends, because you are a unique individual. But then also, I think so many people, and I'm sure a lot of Ben's listeners they're just so extreme, and take anything he probably says or does, they're just so driven to, like you said earlier, that just when do you stop and just settle with, all right, I feel good right here, let's just stay here for a while and not keep trying to add something else. And I think people avoid those red flags when, all right, I shouldn't go more fasting, that like, okay, I'm told this is what I read, this is what I heard on this podcast, and don't stop and go, okay, Ben's not everyone, you're different, you're female, you have Hashimoto's, I've got, my stress issues in my body systems out of whack for years. And that's what you can't tell people, everyone do the one thing. And that's what I love, agree with you, is that there isn't one size fits all approach. Here's kind of a template, but let's fine tune it for you. And, nutritional therapy and FDN, we use metabolic typing diet and figure out what works. And I think genetics and looking at, if it's DNA fit or whatever program, it's just so fascinating to really look at that person as individual and their why, what your purpose and your goals are to get out of fasting, and then work with that as well as, their labs. Because I know a lot of people, young females doing a high load of exercise, they're doing a ton of fasting, and their hormones were in the tank. And so I think, you got to know, okay, what I said the other day, because I was doing an interview on protein and talking about fasting and not eating enough carbs, and done a few different interviews, and that, it's like, all right, am I doing what I'm doing right now? Is it working for me? I have friends that are doing carnivore. I'm like, okay, you haven't lost weight. You still look bloated. You look inflamed. Is it working for you? But because you've committed to that journey, you're not being open to, all right, I'm going to refeed with a little more carbs, is what, 5 minutes ago, yes. Like the 5'2" to me means like, okay, weekends, I'm going to have a little more good, healthy carbohydrates, like some sweet potatoes, or, a little more focus on starchy vegetables, and then, go lower carbs. So it's just confusing out there, because you don't know what to do, but it's because we're all different.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's really why it's that's, and it's I think it becomes really confusing when it's like you're going to different sites and they're sort of being prescriptive with their information. So like everyone should follow this diet or this regimen or this supplement protocol, and you go to 10 different sites and they all say that that's the best one.
Yeah.
And so I would always be skeptical of anyone like kind of shooting out information like that. And I think being a healthy skeptic is a good thing. Like, I think always questioning stuff that you're hearing, whether it's from a trusted expert or a podcast, like do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best, you can get really complex with this personalized nutrition approach, kind of like you said. You can do metabolic testing, you can do lab testing, you can follow different blood type diets, you can follow like different genetic diets. Like, you could go so many different ways with it, but I think that can be really overwhelming for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And they just get lost. And so what I always recommend is, you best. So kind of like what you just said, if you're trying something, ask yourself, is this working for me? Like, is it really
better?
Do I feel better? Do I look better? Am I getting results? Or am I just doing this because I think if I just keep pushing through, it'll work, and for some diets, it's true. Like, you might need to do it for 30 days or something. You can't do it for 2 days and say, this isn't working for me. Like, you don't know. So there's a time frame here of like, commit to something for a reasonable amount of time, 2 weeks, 30 days. It's usually enough to see if something's working for you. And if it's not, be honest and change what you're doing to see if those tweaks will help. I think that's the only way that you can really ever find something that you feel good about and that's sustainable for you, because carnivore can be great for people, especially with autoimmune disease. But how sustainable is a diet like that for most people?
Well, I was trying to do it, but yeah. So
really?
I was trying to eat more protein, but then I did my microbiome labs. I don't know if you listen to Kion. He's a chief science officer for Microbiome Labs, Megaspore Biotic. And so we did a podcast on my test results, and it's on my YouTube channel, of my Biome FX and my microbiome. I don't even have key bacteria strains detected in my gut.
Oh, wow.
So we went through all these ones. I'm like, okay, no wonder why I'm gaining weight. I'm not able to lose weight. And I have a hard time running for a while. And that's always my indicator on my run performance for the last 8 years. Am I getting, what's wrong with me? Am I getting healthier? And so we got this test back. I'm like, because he goes, you need to do the microbiome. And there's like a 1-day stool test. And the key ones that help in your exercise performance and you're getting your body burn fat were missing. And so,
so you just don't really have any levels of those bacteria.
Mm-hmm. I can't say the words. They're very confused. The acronym.
Yeah, they're hard.
So you have to look at the video to see what my results look like. But I found it fascinating because me as an individual, I had 2, lab results back that I do need a little more vegetables, and I can't just do the protein. And and so to get
feed those bacteria, basically. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was thinking of it as, you get your prebiotics, or is like fertilizer your garden. You got to feed them so they grow and multiply, and you get more of them. And so having those key bacteria strains, these keystone strains that you can see in your microbiome, that help burn fat and help in all this energy production and exercise as well. So it's just fascinating.
So Debbie, I'm curious what you're doing now to sort of build up those levels of bacteria, other than I think you said you were eating more carbs as well.
Well, I'm trying to eat, I always do 3 kind of vegetables as broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts with bacon, of course. So I'm just trying not to be as strict, was my point earlier. Sometimes we just need to go, okay, is this working for me? I'm being strict. I'm not getting the results I want. So let's tweak it and fine tune so I feel optimal performance gains. And so for me, I've been doing the huge gut protocol the last few months, but I with biobotanicals, and then I'm doing the microbiome labs. So it's a total gut restoration, which I just add in my Kion aminos, and I put the prebiotic, a scoop of that in my drink, and then I take the mucosal barrier repairs, another scoop of powder, and I put that in there. So you do that like 1 month, the prebiotic, and the next month you add the mucosal barrier repair and the megaspore. You take the whole time, but yeah.
And megaspore is a probiotic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, spore-based. And so Microbiome Labs is a company, and it's called the Total Gut Restoration Program. So we've done some podcasts with them, and it's just fascinating research. And so you kind of put that together to really individualize your nutrition plan and exercise plan. It's, you know, if you want to be healthy, and, you know, sometimes it's overwhelming to get lab tests, but that's kind of what I think of my role as a health coach, is being a health detective and investigating the whole you to figure out how to make you feel your best. And so you thrive each day instead of just trying to survive each day. And we just kind of put the missing pieces of the puzzle together to bring you to where you want to reach your goals. So yeah, it's a lot of the lifestyle habits that we always talk about in Kion. It is so essential. And I think a lot of people think, I say this often, they can't out supplement bad diet, can't out supplement poor lifestyle habits. And there isn't just, you know, I'm going to take all these supplements, I'm going to get healthy. You know,
the key word there is it's a supplement, right?
Yes.
What is it a supplement to? It's, you know, it's a supplement to a healthy diet and lifestyle. Like you should always consider those two first. And then, you know, kind of nail those down. And then if you need some supplemental help, that's what they're there for. So I really believe in the power of supplements. I've taken them for so long, but I never take them thinking that they're going to be, they're going to replace other things that I should be doing in my diet and lifestyle as well. They're really there just to amplify those things.
Well,
just finish things that are missing.
Yeah, exactly. Substitute, stimulate, and supplement. But what we say as FDN practitioners, Reed Davis, the founder, created the DRESS for Health Success Protocol, and DRESS stands for 5 things. DRESS is diet, or D of DRESS is diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and then supplements. So it's all 5 things. It's not just supplements. They don't work. If you have poor digestion, if you have leaky gut, you know, you're not even going to get those nutrients of all those pills you're taking too, and of the food that you eat. So anyways,
that's a great outcome.
Out of time for you probably, and get to you back on the show to talk shop. It was fun chatting and just kind of diving into different topics.
Oh yeah, it's always fun to be on here and chat with you. And yeah, it was great. Just having some coffee chat, basically.
My Kion coffee. Someone asked if it was good because I was posting about my Kion, because I ordered the 3 bags, and because we're making coffee every day, saving money, not going out.
Yeah.
Back to saving money, but the bad thing is that businesses aren't probably making as much money because we're making things at home. But
yeah,
you know, the Kion coffee, not to sell anything, but it is one of my favorites to get, and it's so clean, and it does taste different than you get the crappy. But I make it in my French press and grind it.
Yeah,
each day.
It's good stuff. I drink the Kool-Aid for sure. It's really hard for me to drink any other coffee now. It just doesn't taste good, and it makes me jittery, and I'm just like, oh yeah, it's one of my favorite products that we have, and it's also probably our best seller too. That and the aminos. People love that stuff. So
yeah, and the aminos I like because they taste so good, and I can.
Do you like the berry flavor? Yeah, I like the berry flavor too. Lime is not my cup of tea, but berry is really good.
A lime margarita, you put some aminos.
Okay. I
have not done that. I don't drink alcohol very often, but I was thinking lime just sounds like a cocktail to me, or margarita.
Totally. Oh, we might have to put like a recipe on the blog for an aminos margarita.
Lime margarita with Kion aminos and seltzer water.
That sounds really good. Okay, you've inspired me. It was great chatting with you. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. And then people can go to getkion.com to see more. And you've got great blogs on there as well as the products.
Yep. We have, if you're interested in fasting, we have a bunch of fasting content on our site. So it's just getkion.com/articles.
All right. Thanks, Kelsey.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks for listening to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at debbiepotts.net. You can help us to continue to grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.